Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Drop Frames. Cohh, what day is it?
Oh God, you mixed it up on me.
Have I?
The
What?
show episode I think is 15, but I have no idea what day it is.
Okay, good answer. Good. That's a good answer.
Okay.
Woo! Let's reveal.
Good
Good
answer.
answer. Yeah.
Oh, Wednesday. We have the
I
show
don't
every
know.
Wednesday.
yeah.
There we go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly. I have
You're
no
good.
idea what. It's Wednesday, I think. I don't know. Could be wrong. Could not be. It's 4:15. Your taxes are actually no. Those got delayed as well. You know, things are weird when your taxes are delayed. That's when shit has hit the fan. That's a good barometer for, has shit hit the fan? Yes or no? Yes. Taxes delayed till July or something like that. So, anyways, let's not talk about that. Let's talk about games, the gaming world, the Twitch world. Who's angry about Twitch drops? Is anyone angry? Are you guys? Where are we at on that?
Well, it's here's the thing: the Twitch drops thing is not a realm in which I compete.
Okay.
I would say,
Sure.
like, because it's drops are by and large for competitive gaming, like in the competitive gaming sphere, like of competitive games. I mean, like,
Sure.
yeah, PvP games.
Right.
And I don't do a lot of those at all. So my take on it would be it is going to be very uneducated, but I've seen like tweets here and there from other people talking about like streaming reruns to act as live to keep the drops happening and to keep viewers viewing,
right,
or at least to keep your channel open and shit like that. And I mean, dishonest, sure. Against the rules, I don't know.
I don't think it's against the rules. I don't think it's necessarily dishonest as well. Like,
I don't think so.
They have rerun in the title, right? Like they say rerun somewhere on their stream. Maybe if they're hiding it, then yeah, I don't know. I didn't look too far into it yesterday because Valorant now, if you have a key, you can stream it and you'll get drops. They kind of changed everything last night.
Okay,
but it was pretty bad over the weekend.
It's a little weird to do that though. Like when there's a full rerun system on Twitch specifically designed for content that isn't live, to have people then basically fake being live. I'm surprised Twitch hasn't kind of made up more rules concerning that. Like, it's strange that they spent all the money and resources on a system that they basically just are being like, yeah, use it if you want to, but we don't care if you don't. Like,
well, they don't.
I'd love to see more restrictions there, personally.
I think putting on my business hat for a sec, no one necessarily loses by doing that, except the streamer gets some like bad reputation for it, and he loses some reputation with everyone. That's about it, right?
The person that loses is every single streamer underneath that recorded stream.
Sure.
So totally. Like they're basically like, that's one of the ways to grow is during big events like this. So when larger streamers are parking non-live content in live pages, that means somebody's 300 viewer day that could have been 7,000 views is now being, basically taken by that rerun content. So there are definitely losers when streamers choose to do that.
I will say though, someone would have drops regardless and would be on, and the people that had access to Valorant like myself who didn't have drops, it was, like I said last week, it was pretty pointless to stream the game. It was ultimately like, there's no point to stream the game if you don't have drops, because people are just going to join the chat, say, hey, do you have drops? No? All right, I'm going to someone else's stream. So I think that would have happened regardless of if they were running restreams or not. I do think that it is scummy. I think scummy is a good word to use. I think dishonest is something that's a little bit ambiguous, but it's definitely scummy as fuck to run reruns and run ads on top of those reruns. And I think it looks even worse from the point of view of these were kind of featured, specifically the ones in UK. They were kind of taking over the Twitch front page there in the UK, where these were rebroadcasted streams that already happened that were front page for several hours, from some accounts, like hundreds of hours over the past week.
And that was the biggest thing. Like reruns in and of themselves, I don't have a problem with, like, because I know, like, I get crushed every day by like reruns of huge channels like that. They're running like rerun content. Like just take Kid Boga for example. anytime Kit Boga runs a rerun, his numbers still kill my numbers. Like it's
Sure.
way less, but people are still there watching the reruns and shit like that. I got no problem with that. It's that the reruns being promoted is the big issue. Is that it's just like can't you like promote someone who's like actually live and there? I mean,
That was very
what would be the
surprising.
problem with that?
Yeah. The problem is
Yeah.
My take would, my theory of what Twitch would say to respond to that is it was the weekend. The people that managed the front page weren't at work, which is a bad excuse, but that's what they're going to go with most likely, or that's what they would go with. They frankly probably won't say a damn thing about it. And you know, it's the type of thing where hopefully in the future, when these drop programs return, because they're going to, Valorant,
They will return.
Valorant
Absolutely.
is every game that's done this. It's been a crazier and crazier effect, positively for the brand that takes the business practice of drops on Twitch. It gets bigger and bigger. So they're going to return, and hopefully they kind of take some of the lessons that they learned from this and implement those from Twitch, as Twitch rather, not necessarily the companies, because the company don't give a shit.
Again,
like if people are live at the game, great, good job, team, we won. Like they don't care how they're live,
right.
for the most part.
Then again, I mean, I had a thought just now, like, why wouldn't they promote like someone who's actually live over some popular streamer who's doing reruns? And then I thought, like, they've been doing that on television for years. It's like, rather than get a new show, we'll just run a rerun of Seinfeld, because people will definitely watch that shit.
It's been trusted to be watched. Yeah. The data shows that it's been watched. Yeah.
I mean, I get it from a business standpoint, but like, I mean, if you can help a smaller guy, like, help a smaller guy. Come on.
Yeah. Also, I just now realized after we're kind of done with this conversation, drops are a thing that happen when you watch a Valorant stream. They're the only way to get into the beta. The only way to play effectively is by watching Twitch streams. This is something we talked about last week. So if you missed that show, or you caught that show rather, you're kind of in the know in terms of what we're talking about. If you didn't, hopefully that helps explain kind of what these drops are. But yeah, last night, the culmination of all this was Riot got out and made a post last night where if you stream under the Valorant game title, and you are streaming the game, which is part of Twitch toss, you can't just like play a different game under Valorant and hope to get viewers from that. It's against toss. Then you'll give out drops as long as you're playing Valorant in that category. So that'll
Good on them for doing that.
hopefully solve some stuff. Yeah. You know, it's the type of thing where it's like, if they did that now, why didn't they do that from the start? But I get that they were wanting to reward the people that kind of participated in the alpha, because they weren't paid. They've been very vocal about the fact that it wasn't a paid sponsor type deal, but they were paid by these drops, you know, boosting numbers to Fortnite level.
Seriously paid. Proximity payment.
Yeah. I think Summit's at like plus 60,000 subs since that launched. I know a handful of streamers that have all hit kind of sub highs and stuff like that. And viewership highs is astronomical. So it definitely paid out the people that were able to do it. So yeah. But apart from that, I don't know if there's anything really to talk about. It's kind of done with, and we can really only hope that people have learned, or the businesses have learned kind of what people are upset with, and they fix that stuff moving forward. Because apart from that, you can't really do too much with the whole thing.
That's right.
Being upset is not going to really solve too much. So, yeah. Zeke, anything else you want to add? You look like you're thinking or you're searching. I see those eyes darting back.
No.
Okay, all right,
Nope.
gotcha. Where do we go from there? Is there any other Twitch news? Have you guys seen that mod view thing? This is kind of like three or 4 weeks old, but we never spoke about it on Drop Frames. That is. Have you guys used the mod view thing? Do you have any thoughts on it? I have not checked it out because I'm not necessarily a mod and I'm streaming whenever I'm live, so I can't really like go in and look at that stuff. Have you guys looked at it or had your own mods give you any feedback on it?
We had a similar system already in place that so we didn't have too much use for it over on my channel.
Yeah.
A lot of the things that we had in our system are in the mod panels, so it's kind of like it's a very good first step for moderators for sure. I will say that I'm sure our guest being on later today will have more to talk about it with. So we can definitely bring him in on that as well.
Yeah. It's a good time to mention Barry's going to be joining us in the last hour of the show. We tried to make sure that we could get through this week without having him on, but didn't happen. He spoke up. So I kind of got caught in an awkward position, and he forced his way onto the show. So
what we're trying to say is we'd like to apologize. Yeah, we did our best.
We did. We tried. To you, not to Barry. We're apologizing to you, the viewer, not to Barry.
Yeah. Oh,
the
yeah.
guest. Yeah. We
got no. That Barry guy.
Yeah.
Like, just him.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
It's true. It's true. It's true. Anyways. Zeke, you finished Persona. You're done with it. I heard you had a 14-hour stream. I unfortunately did not check it out, as I think I was live. That was Saturday or something like that. But what happened? Because I need to know what your thoughts are. I need to go back and watch the stream. It was Friday. Okay. I need to know what happened for you, not necessarily in the game, because I've played the game. How was it? Where'd it go? I'm not going to show any footage of this either, because I don't want to spoil it. Because I think if I just show footage from the final game, or the final VOD rather, it's going to spoil the fuck out of it, right? Not really?
I mean,
it'll spoil it if you're playing the game, maybe? I don't know.
I mean, the game's from, what, 2008, and then I think Golden came out like 2010, 2011, something like that.
Hey, we're going to be talking about later how you spoil a 23-year-old game.
I know, we have to have a new caveat. Yeah, it's an old game, and there's no remake. Okay, please continue.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah. The game, first of all, did you have a specific question, or you just want to know like the general overview?
General overview. I don't. Getting into specifics is going to be the type of thing where it's like, what did you think about this character? That did you know that was good? Like, I'm not going to do that. It's
right. Sure.
It's too minute of a detail for sure. So
yeah.
How was it for you? Did you enjoy it?
Yeah. I made a promise a long time ago when I started this, like shortly after I started this whole streaming thing, that I said, well, most people know, if you know me, you know I got my start with Man vs. Game, and he's the kind of guy who will play a game until it's done. And I sort of started modeling like my streams after that, like, if I start playing a game, I got to finish it. And then after about, I don't know, a year, maybe less, I was like, I'm not that person. So I made a promise, like, if I stop liking the game, I will not play it anymore.
Sure.
I will change games and I will not play it. So, yes. The answer is yes. I loved it. I absolutely had a blast throughout the entire thing. 150 hours, something like that, of playing throughout the entire game. And if I ever at any point did not want to finish it, stopped having fun, it became boring, became, something I was dreading doing. But no, it never became that. Every morning I woke up and I knew I was going to play Persona. It was nice. It was a nice feeling. Because I knew like there would be story progression. The carrot on the stick for Persona is like, for both Persona games that I played, it's just really good. It's a little food pellet every so often. Like, all right, here's one thing to do. Here's the next thing to do. Here's a little bit more. And you keep taking these incremental steps, and eventually you have like hundreds of hours in a video game. But there are certain parts of Japanese video games that I've noticed that I just personally cannot stand.
Sure. And
people have questioned me, like, how can you like a Persona game if you don't like these things? And those things I'm talking about are the completely plot inconsequential moments, or I hesitate to call them moments because they take hours, where it doesn't it adds to the exposition of the characters, but it doesn't advance the plot at all. Like, I bring up like the omelet party that's in the game that you have, like, after this big fight, you have this big boss fight, and it's just like, you spend this time in this dungeon, you do this big boss fight, and then you don't save. You don't get to go in the world. You don't get to save. They're like, oh my God, I can't believe we did it. Omelets, anyone? They're like, yeah, let's go to the store and get ingredients and have like an omelet contest. And you're like, what in the fuck does this have to do with anything?
Yeah, it's a thing.
That shit I cannot stand. I like, it's difficult to wrap my brain around. I get it. It's the people are saying like it's a slice of life. Sorry, I rolled over my fucking. There we go. Rolled over my headphone cord. I get it. It's a slice of life. It's filler. It gives you more insight into the characters and stuff. But I think it would be more impactful, more beneficial. I would not be dreading it so much that it was going to happen again if they like interwove it into like plot advancement stuff.
Sure.
Like you can say with a giant party that this person doesn't like paprika. You can have an hour-long thing, and the only thing you take away is this person doesn't like paprika. Or you can have them go like, oh, my mother's in the hospital and stuff like that, and you're having dinner. It's like, oh, does this have paprika in it? I don't like paprika. That's it. That's all you need. You can just put that in there in the middle of a plot moving forward device instead of having like a 2-hour scene about it. You know, it's just like, that's the part I don't get. And it happens in less so in the Yakuza games. It happens in like the nonary games, the 999s and those things, like a lot of filler content.
Yeah.
Just so you get like,
I think it happens in
an absolute idea of who the characters are that you're playing.
Right.
Like, I get it, but can we keep it to just the real important stuff? Can you pare it down just a bit? Because I think like there's probably 20 hours of it in the game all told for me personally.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. That's one thing, as I'm getting ready to start Persona 5, that's one thing. I'm not necessarily dreading it, but I'm fully aware that it's going to happen. And I'm just kind of like, I hope I don't lose interest in that amount of time that happens where I have to learn that a character hates paprika for an hour, right? Like I'm right there with you. I understand that.
Yeah.
And 5 times, by the way. It's not that they just say that they hate paprika. It's that there's 5 individual scenes that make sure you know at 20, 40, 60, 80, and 100 hours through the game.
They really. And then his final weapon is a paprika stick or some shit like that because he
paprika
overcame
shaker. Actually, yeah.
Well, and that's the other thing about any of these games is, and it's an anime trope in general, is the recap.
Right.
Got to recap everything every so often. You got to sit down with everybody in the crew and be like, so this is what happened. Yeah, this is what happened. Oh, let's go over it one more time. Okay, so this person did this and that person, and you're just like,
stop.
You're just saying you're saying the same things, but in a different way that we've already known. And I get it. You're not supposed to play it like a streamer.
That's what I was just about to say. I wonder if that's
8 hours a day.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm absolutely sure.
Yeah.
But like, this is definitely like a streamer problem. Is that you play it as a living, so you're playing it constantly. So you're like, why the recap? But like most people like play it for a few hours, put it down, play it for a few hours another day, stuff like that. So the recaps are very beneficial, for sure. But it's very predominant in anime and that kind of stuff. That it just happened.
Yeah.
And that kind of like I can forgive that stuff. That stuff is easily forgiven because I understand it's a functionality or a functional thing. It actually helps. The fluff. I mean, the fluff isn't for me. And there was plenty of people in the channel going like, why do you even play these games if you don't like the fluff? And I'm like, because there's enough other stuff that I really enjoy,
man,
that I can kind of, get through the fluff without too much,
I was watching, and this is kind of a jumping off point for a side discussion, so I don't want to take it too far, but I was watching another streamer who was playing a game, and they kept talking about how they have like what they call drive-by viewers, where they join into a stream, and at that point in the game, the streamer's upset and like cursing the game, just upset, whatever. And so then it becomes like, oh, this person dislikes this game. It's like, no, they just dislike that game in that moment. 5 minutes later, they're praising it, how good it is. Like you can't, It's tough because I think like drive-by viewers will join a stream just like you said, and you're cursing about like recaps or paprika or whatever, or the fact that Nanika has a deadbeat dad and it's shitty. Like whatever you want to voice your opinion about.
And then they have the gall to tell you like, why don't you just play a different game?
Yeah. Anyways, that's a whole nother side story. Don't do that.
You must be new here.
Yeah. Yes,
yeah.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, if you tuned into like me playing Doom the last couple of days, you might think I fucking hate it.
Sure, I heard that. We're gonna talk about that after this. I heard there were some spicy.
Dude, I was the same way through a lot of Doom. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm screaming, yelling, cursing.
I just had a smile on my face the whole time and just ate raw beef as I was destroying. It was great.
Was it heart beef?
It was heart. Yeah, it was just only heart diet that week. I had to locally source.
That's a Persona joke.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I thought you were just making a Doom
just
joke.
misheard lyrics from the music, the soundtrack. Heart beef, heart beef.
Oh, okay. I know that song. I know that song is ingrained in my soul.
Yeah.
Anyways.
But as a whole, like Persona 4 Golden is just as, I mean, I would say like if you took the graphical limitations and all of the stuff that all the advances we've made in the past 8-9 years that were instituted in Persona 5.
Yeah.
And you took those away, like, and you put Persona 5 and Persona 4 like head to head. I think they're pretty well matched. I mean, I had probably just as much fun.
Wow.
Maybe a little more playing P5 because the quality of life stuff is just much better.
Sure.
And the graphical quality, and I also like the music better in P5 than I did in P4. It was funkier, it was a little more upbeat.
Yeah.
But I can see the comparison. Like the story of P4, I liked better. Like the whole idea behind why they do what they do.
Mm-hmm.
I like that much better in P4. It's much more well defined, and I could grasp onto it more easily than in P5. P5 was still a little bit weird, but P4 I was like, okay, I kind of get this better.
Yeah,
and I understand what's going on here. Like people facing their shadows and facing like stuff they don't want to like admit about themselves. One of the basic mechanics for a boss fight is the person goes, "You're not me," to a shadow that's absolutely a part of them they have trouble accepting.
Right.
Like that, I totally got that, and I like that. I like the transitions, pitting someone against themselves when they don't want to like accept themselves 100%. There's pieces of everybody that you don't like, that you look. It's like watching yourself on video. And you go like when you're you're dancing, like there's a video of you dancing at a wedding or something. Like while you're dancing, you're like, yeah. But then when you watch the video, you go like, ooh,
tough.
Ooh, yeah. Exactly. So if you're faced with yourself, it can be tough sometimes.
Yeah,
and I can get that. I like that plot point. But the game as a whole was fantastic. It's great. I had fun just sinking so many hours into it. I think I maxed out. Probably, I think less than 50%, like close to, but less than 50% of the social links. I want to say I got my entire squad maxed out and stuff like that. So
did you get the golden ending?
I did, yes.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah, there's one relationship that you have to max out in order to get the golden ending, and I had that one. That was like I think the first or second one that I maxed out.
Gotcha.
So.
Okay.
Got that one all maxed out. Did the golden ending. The game has has an ass on it, as my dad would say. There was some added content. Definitely, I wasn't sure how much, but it's hard to judge when I ask. Like my audience has a hard time judging. Like, how many hours do you have left, Zeke? Well. It's Zeke time, so
you got to add a couple there.
5 for me, 15 for you.
Yeah.
So it's tough. But I did get it done. I said, come hell or high water, I'm finishing the game today. Oh. I finished it 13 and a half hours at a stretch. But talking about like people pop like drive-by viewers. If you popped into the stream during that last stream, you might think like
You hated the
this was
fucking game.
this was
Yeah.
torture for me.
Yeah.
Because I was doing like I was just shitting on everything by that point because I was just grumpy, exhausted, like
Sure,
I hadn't
yeah.
eaten, like shit like that. So, but I loved it. I absolutely loved it.
Cool.
Yeah, I didn't get all the personas, but I did get like I think I got 75% because I think like you get like a Margaret, the one of the Velvet Room people, like she talks to you every so often. She's like, "Oh, you're doing pretty good with personas at like 25%." And then 50% she says something, and then at 75% she says something, and I got that much. So
Cool.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
How long in all?
And if you want to play it, I
man.
think like Persona 4 Golden, I think it's still only available on Vita, like the Vita cartridge, or
I think you are correct.
PSN
yeah.
for
I
or
want to say that there was a rumor or a leak or something that said that it might be coming to PS4. I might be making that up. Maybe I'm confusing that. I know you can play the original on the PS.
A remaster?
No, not necessarily a remaster. They were just making it available to play on like a current gen console. But I might be making that up. I know you can play the original on a PS2. I'm not sure.
I think it
should
was.
stop
I think it was
talking.
originally meant as a PS2 game.
It was. Yeah, it was originally a PS2
Yeah.
game. Yeah. So, if anything, you could probably just buy the game and then emulate it. You got to buy it first, so it's legal. That's how that works.
Have to own it.
Yeah. Before you emulate it. Anyways, let's move on from this quick. I can hear the lawyers running. Let's talk about Doom. I'm curious on your experience on Doom. First off, your difficulty choice, sir. So I may
Nightmare.
judge you. Okay. Was that the hardest? Is that the hardest you could do? I think it was, right?
There's Ultra Nightmare, but that means one death is
Ultra
it's a
Nightmare.
permadeath or whatever.
No, that's not.
Have you
that's-
beaten it, Zeke?
Ugh.
No. Mm-mm.
Oh, okay.
I've not beaten it. No.
Where are you at in the story? Because I want to make sure I don't like spoil mechanics, and I think that might have been what Cohh was also trying
Well,
to get at.
I did a stream and a half of it, but part of the first stream, like the last 2 hours of the first stream, was me doing a Slayer gate,
The first
and
one.
those fucking things, holy shit,
They're
they can
fun.
get really difficult.
Yeah.
And then the last stream, like yesterday, I did about half the stream because I had to help move stuff in, but I ended on a Slayer gate, and I went, okay, I don't know if I'm going to do this. I don't know if I'm going to do this on stream because it doesn't move the plot forward at all, and it's going to take a while. It's going to take a few hours.
Yeah.
Because the shit gets really difficult. Like, this game is fucking hard on Nightmare. Who knew?
Yeah.
But I will say, it doesn't feel impossible, and it doesn't feel like artificial difficulty to me. It doesn't feel like, maybe it's because I haven't played the other difficulties,
Sure.
but it felt like either the AI was smarter, or they threw like there were more enemies to kill, which is a way that I think I'd rather have more enemies to kill than make the enemies bullet spongy.
Sure.
Because it feels like I'm making progress when I'm killing more aliens or more demons than it does when I'm like just sitting there just shooting over and over again, and like with my shotgun or rockets or whatever. I don't know if that's the case, but it felt really difficult, but it felt like I could do it. So it wasn't it didn't feel unfair. You know how like I know games fair, whatever,
Yeah.
but it sometimes, like, I don't know what other adjective to use. It's like,
Spongy
this
is
is
the word.
fucking
between hard
unfair,
and
you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Hard and cheap.
Sometimes
Exactly.
it feels
exactly.
cheap. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, and shout out to Scott Evans for making that the overlay for my Doom guy.
Yeah. It's awesome stuff. Yeah. There at the bottom in the center. I also like how you centered your gun, a la the old school Doom.
Yeah. Yep.
Which is one of the options for sure. I would say and again, I did not play it on the easier difficulties, but on the harder difficulties, it becomes more of a Like on lower difficulties, you're just simply killing dudes. On higher difficulties, you're killing things with a purpose and with the right tool for the job every single time. And if you're not, then it infinitely makes it more difficult.
Yeah.
And so you find yourself like approaching the arena kind of like a strategy game where you're like, all right, this counters that guy. If I do that, I can do that. I'll keep this guy here in case I need to come back and chainsaw him for HP. These little guys over here, I'm not going to kill them right now. I've got this thing. I need to take that out with the machine gun. I'll make sure I scope and take that turret out before I even get close to it. Like, that's how you approach the harder difficulties, I think. You have to, really. Because if you just go in there guns blazing, like, it's infinitely harder. For sure. And I also think that this is the type of game where the people that play it on the harder difficulties want to, and the people that turn it down, it's totally fine as well. Like this is really a no shame game at all when it comes to difficulty. Cause like you said, it gets stupid difficult. It gets ridiculous towards the later half of that game for sure.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
If you're going to play it on the harder difficulties, the one piece of advice I would say is get good at weapon switching.
Yes.
Get real good at it.
You have
Get real used to it. And because you're going to have a favorite weapon that you're going to want to use that ain't going to work on certain enemies. So also, like, the thing I had the most trouble with, and probably what killed me the most, well, the thing that killed me the most is the environment. I would get hooked, like caught up on corners and fucking little lips or little like posts or something like that. That would kill me more than fucking anything. Is I couldn't move because there was like, a fucking little tiny skull that was on my foot. And I was like trying to strafe or whatever.
Yeah.
That killed me more than anything. And that's my own fault for not paying attention to the environment. But the other thing was judging like how to plan out glory kills, because I loved using the shotgun, both its primary function and its secondary function with sticky bombs, stuff like that. But it doesn't allow for a lot of glory kills, and glory kills are what gives you the most HP back. So I had to switch between that and like try not to shoot the guys until they die, and then get up there and glory kill them so I can get HP back and shit like that. So I had to you have to get good at weapon swapping.
Yeah.
And that is something I am really not good at, because there's a lot of times when I'm like, all right, I'm going to go back to the shotgun, bring up the command prompt because I hit the tilde. I'm like, fuck.
Yeah. That was one of the things that I did right out of the gate, was just I rebound all of my guns to binds that I used when I played Quake. And so it was muscle memory, essentially, like shotgun, F, rocket launcher, R, railgun, Q, machine gun, X. Like I just had all that stuff in my brain because I spent thousands of hours playing Quake. And that helped a lot because I wasn't like fiddling with the mouse wheel and bringing up like the mouse, not the rotator or whatever, select. I don't even know what you call it.
Yeah, the weapon wheel. Yeah.
Weapon wheel. There you go. Yeah. And that helped a lot for sure. But
that's something I didn't even know about until about 10 hours in the game. They're like, you can bring up the weapon wheel with Q. And I was like, what? Like, it doesn't pause the game, but it slows it down. I was like, oh, well, I've already tried to learn how to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. God damn it.
Yeah.
I was the same way.
Yeah. What do you think? We're watching some movement here. This is one of the things that a lot of people have issue with in the game. How do you feel about the movement-based and movement-based mechanics and how frequent they're used?
They have issue with it?
Yeah, some people said it
wow.
like takes away from what Doom is or was yeah, that it was just too much.
Oh, I absolutely loved it. I loved jumping around as Doom guy and like grabbing onto ledges, turning around, grabbing onto another one, doing a little swingy thing.
Yeah.
Like, I get it. It doesn't feel like you're Doom guy. You feel like fucking Batman.
Sure.
I get that.
Yeah.
But you kind of get used to jumping around and being in the air at all times if you're on a hard difficulty, because you have to survive.
Right.
So there's a lot of verticality, a lot of moving around every map, like while you're fighting and shit. So you kind of get used to being in the air. So it didn't feel like out of place, I guess.
Yeah. That was one of the things. I think Cohh streamed this on like a Thursday and it came out Friday. And I was in a stream and he said the phrase, the best piece of advice I can give to someone that's going to play this game is never stop moving. And so I entered into the game
Yeah.
with that already in my brain, and it was like the best piece of advice. I could echo that as well. You got to learn to move.
I saw, like, especially on the first day, there were some really great FPS streamers, like top of their game kind of streamers, and they were playing the game exactly how you would expect a top FPS streamer, like, you know, kind of like CS style juking and getting around corners and staying in one place and trying to get those good shots off, and they were just getting decimated.
Yeah.
Like, absolutely decimated. It was pretty wild. It's very much like an action game. Like, it's designed to be almost like it's one of the more actiony FPSs out there. Just period.
Yeah. We'll definitely talk about this once Zeke has finished it, because there's a handful of encounters that I really can't wait for you to get to, because they brought me such frustration / joy. I know they brought Cohh a lot of frustration / joy, and so I'm only expecting that to be twofold for Zeke on both the frustration and joy meters. And for people that have played the game, you obviously know what I'm talking about. For Zeke, he has no idea, so let's try to keep him in the dark until that stuff starts to happen, because it really is like
Smart.
it's a fun thing to see for the first time, and to deal with for the first time. So be careful about reading chat, I would say, Zeke. Unless you don't care, then that's fine as well. But yeah, I assume
You should care though. We don't read chat.
Yeah, there you go. I assume you're gonna continue streaming this till you're done. Is kind of next up on the radar for you?
You know, I'm not sure. To
Really?
be honest with you. Yeah, and if I don't continue streaming it, it's purely business. Not because I'm not having fun.
Yeah.
It's a purely business decision, because I might give it one more day to see how it goes, but the first day was fine. The second day just tanked. So viewership wise. So maybe I'll give it one more day to see how
Really?
how it fares the second day. Yeah. And I'm not sure if it was because it was on a day that people aren't used to seeing me stream, but
there's a lot
we'll
of
see.
factors right now. I think even like streaming Final Fantasy VII for me was down, and I think a lot of that had to do with because everyone's trying to get drops for Valorant.
Maybe.
And so
Yeah,
I think
maybe,
the drops are taken away. That should start to like even
Oh my
out.
god. Wait,
So-
yeah, okay. So real quick, apparently there's a bug on Twitch right now. Yeah. I don't know if you've looked at our viewer count. We currently have 1,000 viewers in my stream and 800 in JP's.
Nice.
There is a massive issue going on right now. Just a heads up.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah.
Makes sense. I'm sure Twitch is dying somehow. Who knows what's happening? But yeah, I would say try it again, Zeke, and see how it goes.
Okay.
At least get to the point where it's fuck. What chapter did you end in? Do you know? What was the last boss you fought?
I think it was the second Slayer Gate. I want to say.
Okay. I think in
me
one
think.
more stream you'll reach that thing that I'm referencing, and it'll be a fun experience to have people watch you deal with it. But apart from that, like after that, there's the rest of the game is fine. The final boss is trash, so you won't be missing much with that.
Okay.
But at least on stream, unless people want to see you rage. Yeah. But all in all, I'm definitely gonna go back and watch some of the VODs to see how that stuff went. You did the first big tank boss, right?
First big tank boss.
The guy that's on like the level is you're going through the factory and it's showing you like how this creature is going to be built and all this shit, and then you fight him. I don't remember his name.
Maybe.
You fight him and then it's like
He's on the hover platform.
hover platform. Yeah, that's a good way to say it. Yeah. You
No.
fight him, you kill him. You haven't done that yet?
I guess not.
Huh. Maybe,
I think he's on the way to that boss. Last time I was in his stream.
Guys?
Okay.
I don't know.
Well, then I won't.
0 viewers.
No, that's
We
too
did
far.
it!
Okay.
Nice.
0 viewers.
We've died.
It's just us screaming into the void.
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic.
Well, it doesn't matter then. I'm not going to talk about what I was going to say, and I'll just wait for you to get to that point. So they do some cool stuff with that. But music, you into it? Do you think Doom 2016 music was better, or like to compare the two? Do you have a fully fleshed out thought there?
I don't have a comparison. I don't think I have a I can't say one is better than the other yet. I will say like it fits fucking perfect like it always has.
Sure.
Like it's awesome. It gets me pumped up. It's metal as fuck. I love the metal choir
Yeah.
that he put together. I saw a YouTube video on the metal choir he put together and stuff, and it's just awesome to hear the chanting and stuff like that. I love like religious overtones in games, and so I love all the choir, like the them singing Latin and shit. And then I also love like the deep guttural chanting. Oh, dude, oh, dude. Like I love that shit.
Yeah.
I also love the Gregorian, like like I love that shit. So I'm into it. I'm absolutely 100% all about it.
Cool. Well, I'm eager to talk to you when you have played more. So hopefully you continue streaming, or if not, playing it off stream. One way or the other.
Well, now you kind of make me want to, because I don't want to deny everybody like the frustration and joy that you said I have coming to me. So
I mean, the game the game is a giant set of stairs in terms of difficulty, and some of those flights of stairs are.
I would love
nightmare.
for you to play it on stream, Zeke. I'll just go ahead and say it.
Yeah, they're a fucking, like, the first time you deal with one of the enemy types, it's just awful, and then you start seeing those guys.
I think I got that spoiled for me, unfortunately.
Really? Okay. Well, then you start seeing those guys in encounters, and then you start seeing multiple of those guys in encounters, and you just like you see them, and you just have to stand up and walk away. You get so frustrated.
It's just awful.
Yeah.
Awful.
But then you learn to deal with them, and you're like, oh yeah, this is fucking sick. Like, now who's the bitch?
Okay.
Like that.
Well, I did come upon the.
Don't worry, it'll still be miserable. It doesn't matter how spoiled you are; it'll still be terrible.
Yeah.
The fat dudes with the guns on both hands, like those guys, like They not only do they shoot, then it hurts really bad, but they have a tendency to put you in very. Oh, this part was one of the parts where they put you in very close quarters with those fucking guys. You can't escape them, and it's just it's annoying. It's a nightmare.
There you go. Yeah, without a doubt. So cool. That's the. Oh, also, you're playing the PC version? I forgot to ask.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay, mouse and keyboard. Or are you using a controller?
I'm gonna tell you what I tell people who ask me that in my chat.
Okay.
You can look at the bottom right, and you can see like E, C, Control, G.
Sure.
Sure. Is there a control? Is there a control button on a controller there, bud?
I don't know. There might be on some Mad Catz controllers. You never know. They get a little wild out there. So.
Well, I think most people come in and ask me if I'm playing on a controller because I'm bad, because I can't aim.
Gotcha.
And I prefer to use explosives rather than precision thing. I never use that fucking plasma rifle because I can't hit any. Like, I can fire 50 shots and hit one.
Oh man, it becomes crucial with dealing with a certain creature. Like you will have to use that gun in order to get through creatures.
You talking about the shield guys?
That's one of them. Yeah.
Okay. Well, the shield guys, I've become pretty good at dropping a sticky bomb behind them.
Oh, okay. Yeah. When
that usually does them pretty good.
I'm totally aware that you're probably aware of this, but when you blow them up with the plasma on the shield, it blows them up. So it kind of behooves you to do that. But yeah, you can totally just drop a nade behind them. That works too. So luckily there's multiple ways to deal with multiple creatures in that. All right, let's try to approach this Final Fantasy VII remake conversation. We'll state this. One, we're going to do it. I talked about this on Twitter yesterday and also before the show started, but I'll say it here as well. We're going to do a separate kind of special episode of Drop Frames once Cohh and Maximilian have finished it. I think Cohh's about a stream away from what I saw this morning, and I think Max is about probably a little over 60% of the game. So might be before next Wednesday, might be after next Wednesday. We're kind of just playing it by ear, and then we'll let you guys know when it comes to scheduling that. So we're not going to talk about the end of the game, I guess. Definitely, we're not going to talk about that. And we're going to try to keep a lot of the spoiler talk, if not all the spoiler talk, and focus strictly on the mechanics, I would think, would probably be the best thing for this conversation. That said, I don't know how to talk about this game without talking about the end of the game. So, Cohh, take it away. Because I can't, it's impossible. So, Cohh, what are your thoughts on Final Fantasy VII Remake?
I absolutely love it. I think it's like a love letter from 23 years ago. I've enjoyed pretty much every second of it. I've been really enjoying it, and yeah, man, I really can't wait to see how it ends because I'm very curious to know if the ending is going to like influence my opinion on it. Particularly because there's like so many different directions it could go at this point with the end. So, you know, like where is it going to stop? How is it going to stop? When is it going to stop? Um, yeah, it's going to be interesting. The music has been phenomenal though. The graphics have been great. The character development has been just really cool. The character development is what really has kind of blown me away because it feels like in Final Fantasy VII original, I feel like that was now this is the analogy I've been using, but I feel like if Final Fantasy VII original was kind of like a comic book, Final Fantasy VII remake is and let me say comic strip, not a comic book for comic fans out there. If it was like a comic strip in a newspaper, Final Fantasy VII remake is like a novel. Like where we had like little
Sure.
glimpses of some characters, we got to meet them in remake. We got to hear their voice instead of just kind of read their quips and every so often. And it made a connection that just for me, for many characters, just wasn't there. It just wasn't there in remake, like or in original. Like there were characters that I liked, and they were cool, and you know they were memey in some ways. But in remake, you got to actually like really get to know them, and that's been a huge deal for me as somebody who loves those kinds of connections in video games. That has been kind of huge for me. So yeah, I mean it's so far for me, I've absolutely loved it. I'm 40 plus hours in, and I've been told I have 5 to 10 to go, depending on how quickly I've been doing it.
Yeah, it's
So
about right.
I've been loving it. I've been absolutely loving it, and I'm almost nervous to get to the end because
Man,
yeah, we'll have to see how it goes.
man.
So, JP, let me just interrupt you so you don't
Go
be
ahead.
dumb.
Go ahead. Thank you.
You're doing 100%, right?
Cohh is, yeah.
Me?
Oh, yes.
I am doing 100%.
You're doing
100%
Right, okay.
of a single run. I don't know if I'm going to do the 1,000 achievement thing where I have to get more dresses, and I'm not quite sure what my plans for hard mode are yet. But I am planning on doing like everything that can be done in a single run. I'm doing.
Okay. Now how does that now? Because I for the first time ever, or the first time in a long time, I saw your tweet about like spoiling the game in the chat and stuff like that. It's not something that I'm used to seeing from you. As far as because tips and hints and tricks have always been something that's a part of your channel that the audience kind of helps you with. And how are you reconciling those two things? Like, are you taking tips to get 100%, or are you doing it all on your own, or how's that working?
Oh, now I make a very important distinction between backseat gaming and spoiling. So backseat gaming is something I always encourage in my channel because, like I tell my viewers, I play with them, not for them. It's a choice. It's not better than any other ways to stream. It's just how I do it. So for me, like backseat gaming tips, you know, hey, you need to steal the item from this boss. It's not going to be back. Hey, you missed a chest back there. Like that stuff, I'm always 100% okay with. The thing that tweet specifically was angling on is there is, for some reason, this prevalent belief that because Final Fantasy VII is a 23-year-old game, that gives everyone full authority and ability to just spoil it for everyone that's new. And the thing that drives me crazy about this is not everyone played the original game. There are literally thousands and thousands and probably millions of people that never touched Final Fantasy VII Remake. So there's big important story elements that they have no idea about. And two, there's a remake of the game, which means when you're spoiling stuff from Final Fantasy VII, you're not spoiling a 23-year-old game. You're spoiling a 3-week-old game. So it's really a big deal for me when people drop in and they say, hey, just a quick note. For those that don't know, Aerith opens a Starbucks later and becomes a mogul. Like new people don't need to know that.
Wait,
like, that's a really big spoiler that people just don't need to know.
You meant mogul,
so
not
you know
Moogle.
it's
I was confused that you said.
Yeah, mogul.
I thought you were saying Moogle's pronounced
Moogle.
mogul, and I was about to have a seizure at that point.
But no, to put it bluntly, there's this like for some reason this ridiculous slice of the internet that feels that because the game is 23 years old, that they are totally vindicated in going around and just basically spoiling huge parts of the game to people that have never seen the game before, never experienced Final Fantasy VII, and it's ridiculous to me. So, and what's crazy is, you know, I had a couple people where they would drop into the channel, they would say massive spoilers. I would have the no spoiler tag on. I would have no spoilers in my title. I said multiple times during the playthrough, do not spoil this game for new people. And then I would ban them for spoiling. And they'd send me these long messages about, oh, how dare you ban me for that? This is common knowledge, blah, blah, blah. And it's just like, dude, pull your head out of your ass. Like, what the hell, man? Like, how dumb do you have to be to justify what you're saying right now? Like, it just have the slightest bit of decency, the slightest bit of common sense. And you would understand that this is a different ball game. Not every 20-plus-year-old product. It's a really well-done remake that is super popular and bringing in an entire new generation of people. There are people that watch Twitch regularly that are not 23 years old. They're not even as old as the game was.
Yeah.
So, give these people a good time. Let them experience the game like we did. Let them enjoy all the twists and turns. Let them enjoy the big events. Don't be that dick that ruins it for them. There's just no reason. So, yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
That's my thoughts on it.
Makes sense. I can't wait for that episode of the future Final Fantasy VII Remake conversation. Things that we can't talk about that aren't spoilers are the game itself and like mechanics. Combat-wise, I think the combat started off... The entire game, I think, grew on me, and I liked it more and more as I played. But I definitely started off... you mentioned, the 23-year-old game. I definitely started off with the mental thing of like, well, I know where this is in the story. And in the original game, it went to this. So I don't want to go down that side path because I know if I go down that side path, we're done here. So I can't go down that. So now I'm stressed out because I want to go down here and maybe there's a secret item or something down here. And as soon as after 2 days of doing that, I was like, this isn't the same game. Like this is not the original game. As soon as I got past that, I enjoyed everything like tenfold. And so in a lot of ways, I was going to say, in a lot of ways, I feel like if you've played the original game, it somewhat hurts you because it sets expectations. However, I think you cannot actually... I have to be very careful. To understand Final Fantasy VII Remake or to get what they are trying to do, you have to have played the other games. And when I say other games, I mean everything in the Final Fantasies. Advent Children, Crisis Core, fuck Dirge of Cerberus. You don't need to have played that. You really have to understand everything in the Final Fantasy VII world. And it's weird because the game kind of doesn't necessarily tell you that. And the developers didn't necessarily tell you that. And it actually behooves you to have not played them getting started because it sets expectations. So there's a weird like middle point that I think the game somewhat struggles with all of that. But yeah.
So are you saying
that's interesting?
If no one has played the original of this, will they like it? Do you think?
Yes.
I was going to say, even though like the world of Final Fantasy VII is vast, it is deep, and it is full. So even if you don't like fully understand it, like JP is talking about, the remake alone, at least for the 40 hours I played it, is a fantastic game by itself.
100%. I agree.
It is a really, really solid product just for what it is. And I get that question all the time. Like, can I start with Remake? Do I have to play 7? You 101% can start with Remake. That is totally okay, especially if you're brand new to the universe. You absolutely can start with Remake. It's the kind of thing where it's like not to the normal negative degree. It's the kind of thing where you like see a really good, fully featured series about something, and then you kind of go back and read the books it was based on. Now, assuming that they're both of similar quality, but you're still going to really enjoy the adaptation. It's like a different medium almost in how it can tell the story. But yeah, it's you absolutely can start with Remake.
I can't comment on this, so I'm not going to until the next episode where we talk about this in full.
Okay.
I don't want to say anything that
Good to know.
Yeah, I'm just not going to say anything.
Thank you for considering that.
For sure.
I heard from a tweet or something about the combat mechanics that if you try and treat them a little bit more like a turn-based, like the original, it benefits you in that you do your slice of a sword and then you wait to like parry or block or something, and then you do like come back at the enemy again.
Yeah.
Is that true?
It's very much yes. Yeah. So Maximilian, I think, would probably liken it to a fighting game, only because you can bind the different. You can use like shortcuts for all your abilities, so you can hit L1 and like any of the face buttons, triangle, whatever, and you can really like the square is your main attack essentially. Triangle is kind of your character specific attack or ability, and each character has like a combo string with their attacks. So you can do like square, 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 wait for that animation to finish, and then throw in, a dive kick from Tifa, and it'll basically be a full string of combos. And in that sense, like the combat is super fun because once you start to pick up on that stuff, it looks very not. It looks very topical combat wise when you first start playing. The game starts to reveal so many more things as you get more weapons and just more abilities that it really becomes like a fighting game in a lot of ways because you're looking at an encounter and thinking like, all right, this guy staggers this way. And stagger is the way, if you played Final Fantasy 15, that you kind of like open them up for damage in a lot of cases. And so you really start to treat each and every encounter that way because you know the best way to get them staggered faster so you can kill them faster. The game's not that hard though on normal, so you can kind of just button mash your way through a lot of it and ignore that. However, it's much more fun if you don't. And you kind of like do what I think the game wants you to do and kind of like learn all of those openers and learn all of those ways to stagger and kind of like find the tips and tricks, as it were. That just makes it more enjoyable because then you're just fucking demolishing people and the combat feels so good when you're, you have a giant fucking sword and you're just slashing the shit out of this guy and open him up to attacks. And you use Braver and he like jumps up in the air and slams down on the guy and does a shit ton of damage. Like that type of stuff just feels great. It's super fun to play through that. But if you just want like, button mash, you can.
Are there like summons in the game or not?
There are. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do they look cool?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was one of the coolest parts about FF7 when I played the original. Was like they look like the summons looked cool. Like they had this whole animation. They looked beastly. It was pretty sweet.
They're a little bit different in the sense where it's not like I summon Ifrit and then he does his full on attack. It's literally I summon Ifrit and he's like a member of your party that you can then use use 2 abilities for each summon. And then kind of when their meter goes all the way down, that's when they do their big summoning cutscene attack type deal for sure.
Okay.
So yeah. God, this guy just pops up wherever the fuck he wants in this VOD. He just
you get like a little bit of an extra. It's kind of fun.
Yeah.
You get them there doing passive attacks. You can then command them to do other moves.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then they have like a giant finisher cutscene kind of thing that you're used to from seeing from the other games.
Yeah. So it's good. I will say I'm curious to see if Cohh had some of these similar issues. The like texture streaming in this game is wonky sometimes in the sense that if you like load into an area, the textures are like,
yes.
I played on a 4K and I think I played on a 4K display and I think it was easier to spot because everything was so upscaled for me that the second that you enter into an area, sometimes like a street sign looks like it's from the PS2 world. Like they fucking took the original game texture and put that on there. And then after a couple seconds, 5 or 10 seconds,
the doors in the entire second area for me didn't load properly.
Yeah.
So it's like, what are you gonna do, man? It was pretty bad. Like one thing I will say is there's many times in this game when I've told myself like I really can't wait for a year from now when this comes out on PC.
Yes.
Like there's a lot of little technical issues in this game that become very apparent. And the worst part is like some of the game is so beautiful and the level design is so great. And then you like scroll around quickly and it just goes like you see every single frame like it's and then it just kind of rips you out of the whole thing. So yeah, I really can't wait to see this thing on PC. I hope that the 1 year, like for those that don't know, Square already announced that there is a 1 year exclusivity. I can never say that word right with Sony. So we are going to see this only on Sony systems for a year, and they haven't announced anything else yet. But assuming that that deal exists indicates that it's going to be on some other platforms. So we're all kind of hoping for PC and not just like an Xbox announcement or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, hopefully in a year or so we'll start hearing about the PC. Probably earlier as we get closer to like a potential release date for it.
Right. Yeah. And I think some of the other stuff too is in a recent trailer they had like captured on PC at the bottom in the center. So
Yeah.
people are also using that as kind of a tell, so to speak. Speaking of commercials, have you guys seen the commercial that they made for this game that has the Smashing Pumpkins remake or like redo song in it? The World is a Vampire, that bullshit song. I think I was watching a YouTube video and that popped up. It was fucking weird. It was like they tried to
I love that
capture
song.
everything from like the late 90s into one commercial because it's like it's a woman without background audio just singing that Smashing Pumpkins song, and I was so confused when I first heard it for 5 or
Is
10
she singing
seconds.
it like the song, or is she singing it like
Yes.
lounge style, or
She's singing
okay.
it like the song, like Billy
Okay.
Corgan originally sung it. Uh,
Yeah.
it was just weird. I didn't expect that, and I also didn't know that commercial existed until last night. But yeah, it's kind of interesting how it does that stuff. I'm trying to think if there's anything else from like a technical standpoint or anything like that.
We'll probably have a lot more to talk about with stripping at max, I'm guessing.
Totally, yeah. Yeah, I mean, once we can talk about, God, it's yes. The music in this game for me is on par with Shadowbringers from last year. Like they honor what the original game did in terms of the music, and they take all of those songs and add a little bit of tweaks to them and make them unbelievable. They also have a bunch of new music in there that's super catchy. They've got
Oh, good.
They've got really bad music that's also so bad it's good. There's a hip
I love
hop
how you
version
mentioned that.
of the
I
Chocobo
couldn't agree
song.
more.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's I. You can enter into different areas, Zeke, and there's jukeboxes in there, so you can go and like play a song. Anytime I saw one of those, I would put on the rap version of the Chocobo song, and just leave. So anytime I'd walk
You
by,
monster.
I would just hear that music. I was so excited by it.
Oh, God, I hate that fucking Chocobo song.
Yeah.
Oh, I
Well,
hate
imagine it done in the style of rap music. And let me tell you, it is something to listen to. All the
It's like
class.
taking a shit sandwich and adding pesticide. Great.
Oh God. It's
That's gonna make it worse. I didn't think you could, but you made it worse.
yeah, it's good. It's good. It's got all the classic scenes, and it took those classic scenes and made them. It took them to heights that I did not imagine that they could. Particularly like the Honeybee Inn. Like if you've played the original game, you know what that is. That stuff is unbelievably good. So you gotta. Okay, yeah, good.
Sorry, had to test something. She's trying a new recipe.
Okay, good. I'm glad.
She warned me that she would be by later. So.
Should be.
It's lemon curd and it's delicious.
I'm not gonna tell. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Inventory wise, it's fine. I felt like the game had a really bad map system, and I think ultimately the UI in the game I did have the most issues with. The way that you go and upgrade your weapons loads you into kind of like a Final Fantasy sphere grid type situation, and it just doesn't need to exist. And it has like a 5 or 6 second loading screen every time you go into it, and it's like, you didn't need to do this. Like, make it a simpler menu so I can get in there and do what I need to do and get out. That type of stuff is bad. I think the map system is really lacking, is the word that I would use. They have the sense of fog of war, but it's like giant block segments instead of like where your character has actually been in that area. So if you like walk into a certain area, it will say that you've discovered everything in that area when you haven't like gone down the side paths to get the chest at the end of the hall and that type of shit.
Really surprised there wasn't any way to get loot on the map too. Like that.
Yeah.
That was something that very much surprised me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Big time.
I'm trying to think if there's anything else that anything that I had issues with the game were very minor. And definitely were things that I would harp on, but I would just harp on them because I loved everything else in the game. And yeah, there's just a lot of things to like about this game and a lot of things to love about it. So I highly recommend playing it. I think it's I think a lot of people were worried about like the time that to completion for a $60 game. I got 39 hours and 50 minutes out of it. Cohh's at like 41. I've seen around 40 to be kind of the average.
And there's a whole different hard mode that is significantly more difficult for people that want the challenge.
Yeah.
And that's definitely something people can look into as well.
100%. Yeah. And yeah, I think it's just great.
How's the voice acting?
Fantastic. And in fact,
fantastic.
It makes me enjoy the characters in the game more than the original did. Like it gives them so much life, and none of it sounds bad. And when it does sound bad, it's because it's meant to sound bad. Like it's just really good across the board. Everyone, it's just great. Everyone had great delivery on almost everything. I had the English version. I think Cohh played with English as well. I can't speak to the Japanese audio, but you can use that if you want.
I've heard Japanese is great too.
Yeah. Yeah. They also made, Cohh mentioned this earlier, they made all of the side characters where he was talking about, like, the original was a comic strip and this one's a novel. They like fully flesh out so many side characters and honestly make you like care about them so that everything else that happens in the game hits 10 times harder than it did in the original. And that's awesome to see. And that's a lot of the new stuff as well, in terms of, some people would say padding, but it's also just like character exposition where like you're meeting family members, you're meeting what they do when they're not, a member of the Avalanche terrorist group, blah, blah, blah. And that type of stuff is really good. I did have an issue with, and it's a super small issue, Wedge, which is of course like the Biggs and Wedge combo that's in every Final Fantasy game. He couldn't go, or the cast couldn't go a single moment without mentioning how fat he is. Like, every line was a joke about him eating, him being heavy, him being overweight, him, just being a fat guy. And that was kind of shitty. I think that's more just, I don't want to say what I think that is, because I think I might be there's a potential that I might be completely off base there, but it just got a little bit tiring.
Did they consult my mods when they were coming up with dialogue? Because man, that sounds familiar and painful.
Yeah. Okay, chat is saying it's a Japanese thing. That's what I thought.
No, I was gonna mention that in Persona 4.
Yeah.
There is this one high school girl who is like cartoonishly fat. Like,
okay,
she is like a marshmallow head on a bigger marshmallow body.
Sure.
And it's stupid cartoony. And she absolutely reminds me, like, we called her Lisa Burger because there's a South Park episode where there's a cheerleader. She's obviously made to be the ugly fat cheerleader. And she's like, Lisa Burger. And that's like exactly what it's like. It's a fucking thing in Japanese culture. It's crazy.
Gotcha. It was very much a thing in this game, all over the place. Cohh's frozen, and oh, there he goes. Now he's back. I'm trying to think if there is anything else. The game's really horny. I'll just say that.
Oh God, the thirst. The thirst.
Everyone in this game wants to fuck and wants to get down. And like,
everyone's DTF, man.
There's so much innuendo from everyone, and you're just, at some point,
everyone's endo.
Yeah. At some points, you're just like, Jesus Christ. And in some points, it's also like, this is a little like, the Dawn is just a whole mess of a character. And they like double down on the fucking creepiness.
Oh God, some of the yeah, oof.
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah, and I think that's all I want to say until.
How old are the characters in the game? Do we know?
They're like
late teens, early 20s.
Yeah, I think
looks of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's accurate. Yeah.
Okay.
And some
there was a lot of. I mean, dealing
being an adult.
Yeah.
There's another trope. That's another trope for sure. Like Persona 4, like same thing. It was just it got a little. The thing is, they'll say these things. They'll say all these like weird, creepy things. Borderline like assaulty kind of things. Like there's like Teddy would say like just icky, creepy things in Persona 4.
Yeah.
And but they never do anything about it. Like even when you like take the relationship social link thing to the nth degree, got the final scene, it's like a hug or a kiss, and it's just like that's it. but they're talking about like icky shit, and that's how it ends up. Just
Sure.
like real fucking tame.
Yeah. Yeah. There was also a couple edits, and this is totally a Japanese thing, where there are things that happen in the game and there's no blood. And they've actually gone back and like changed some of the things that are like iconic moments where there is blood on the ground. If you've played the original, you know what I'm talking about. That's no longer blood. And that kind of, it didn't necessarily like, it wasn't a game ruiner by any type. Yeah. It wasn't like something I was just bitching about nonstop.
It was apparent. It was
Totally,
apparent.
totally.
I know a couple of listeners are talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying to think if there's any, this is the game where if you finished it, the first thing you want to do is go watch everyone else in the final 2 chapters, because man, that's all I'm going to say, till we meet again. And I don't know if I have anything else to say on the game. So Cohh, if you want to add in anything else, by all means.
Nothing now. I can't wait for tomorrow. I'm extremely excited. I'm right up. If you know the point, I'm right up to the first combat simulator. It's not spoilery, I think.
Yeah, you've got.
So in a large building. Yeah.
That's where I started my stream on Monday, and I beat it 7 hours later. So you've got some a good amount of game to go still, for sure. Oh, and maybe that's something worth talking about too. The idea of padding. I never really felt like there was padding in the game, except for probably one part that just seemed inconsequential. Like it didn't add anything to the game. It was just like, you got to deal with this type of shit. But apart from that, there wasn't necessarily that much. Like anything that they added, it had a goal. It was there for a purpose. Even if it was something super small, it was still important for kind of understanding a character's motives or anything like that. So I don't think there was necessarily too much padding. I think that's probably one of the more divisive commentary about the game is, did this thing need to be added, or did that thing need to be there, and blah, 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 blah.
I'm with you, by the way.
Yeah.
I haven't even, I'm pretty sure I know the part you're talking about, closer to the end of the game, that they kind of draw out a little bit. But even that being said, like I've enjoyed everything. Like whenever the stuff would open up and it'd be like, hey, we've got a bunch of side quests to do, I would just be like, awesome.
Yeah.
Like when a game is as large and developed as something like this, I find side questing just to be like, I look forward to that stuff. I can't wait to be able to like meet side characters and get new items and get, extra experience and more AP and stuff like that. So yeah, I haven't really had any issue with it. If you're having a really good time with the game, it doesn't really feel like padding at any point. At least it hasn't for me.
Yeah. Side quest wise, I had a lot of people ask, like, are the side quests interesting? If you've played 15,
They're not Witcher 3.
Yeah, they're not. Yes, they're not Witcher 3. And I would say if you've played Final Fantasy 15, they're kind of that same vein, where like you don't get too much from them. You get pretty good rewards for doing them, and it's definitely in your interest as a player to go and do them because of the rewards that you will get from them. But you're not learning any like giant plot devices or anything from them like that.
It's also important to mention, like when talking about the side quests and stuff, they were kind of limited by the original. Like it would be a little strange if they were to put in like big, verbose, large, meaningful side quests when those weren't really in the original. They were all kind of mostly smaller little side things. So it could be a bit strange if they were to have done that in the remake. There are a few significant side quests for sure, but it's mostly just exposition.
Yeah. And honestly, a lot of the like side content is how you get stuff, Zeke, like the summons. Most of the summons you get through like side content, and you don't necessarily have to. I don't see why you wouldn't do it. The combat's fun enough to where anytime I got to fight, and it was, you're not really fighting that often, but when you are, it's in large chunks. And anytime that I got to fight was definitely like a high moment for the game for me. So when you got the optional fights to do the summons, I was, let's go. Like I'll spend 20 minutes, 30 minutes doing this shit. Super fun.
Oh yeah.
So Yeah.
And just at first glance, I personally like where they settled on Tifa's boobs.
Yeah.
I like that they settled.
very-
they settled big, but not cartoonish.
They're kind of
It's right at the
cartoonish.
border.
Trust
It's
me,
right at the
I
border.
see cartoonish.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's where it's the subtlety, it's the nuance of flirting with that border between bulbous and melon-esque that I think really accentuates the true underfeeling of the
Yeah.
boobs.
Yeah.
So I think they settled somewhere between like softball and cassava, and I think that was a good compromise that they made.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
I will say that Wedge's
Well stated.
Wedge's stomach has more physics than the former that we were just referencing. So that was kind of
Corneo. Like,
yeah.
my God,
Oh yeah,
dude.
Corneo's
Jiggle
stomach.
physics
Yeah.
on
Oh,
that
yeah,
are
yeah.
impressive.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. They definitely went to the depths of the jiggleness on a couple of stomachs there for sure. So, Materia
Well, I'm looking
Systems
forward to
back,
playing
it's
it now. Good.
Yeah,
Good.
like it's everything's there from the original. It's
Oh, yeah.
and more.
It's great.
It's worth playing. I'm unbelievably. I here's me and Rami have spent probably 2 hours going back and forth in DMs, and a lot of that was in full caps at each other. So that's what you can expect from the future episode of Drop Frames, where we'll be talking about Final Fantasy VII Remake, including the ending. So it's a good one.
JP, plans for hard mode for you?
I might do it off stream. I've seen a couple of the like optional bosses, as it were, and they look pretty fun. The hardest side thing that you can do, you get these side quests, I guess is essentially what they are. And one of the side quests is to level up all of the magic materia, and one of those magic materia is Revive, which has 5,000 AP credited to it. And I got to the end of the game with like 3,100 AP on it. And in order to get that to the max level, you have to kind of grind your way through that. Strippin told me that once you finish the game, it unlocks chapter select, and you also get double the XP and double the AP and shit like that. So it's much easier to grind it out. And you can also just go into essentially like a dungeon and grind without saying what it actually is. And you can put it on classic mode, and the game practically just auto attacks for you. And the mobs are really easy. So you can kind of just like hit X every like couple of minutes and just farm it out that way if you're really not into grinding out the rest of that type of shit. So I might do that just so I can kind of see, without spoiling, the stuff that unlocks. Because I know what it unlocks, and that's the type of stuff that's super interesting. So I might do all that stuff off stream. I'm not necessarily going to replay through the entire game on hard mode on stream. Because it's just not something that I'm super into. The game's fucking super long. With 40 hours, and it's probably even longer than that on hard mode, because in hard mode you can't use items, and that's crazy as shit.
Incredibly more difficult.
Yeah, it's crazy as fuck to not use items in this game. You really have to have kind of your materia on point. Funny enough, one thing that I can say about the end of the game is I did it with one character with materia, none on my other characters, and it made it infinitely harder. So
why?
There's a thing where it's like,
you proving a point or something?
No, it was just like, move forward, make sure you and your party is fully equipped. And I read that and was like, okay, good, I'm ready to go. Went into the final hour and a half of the game, and only Cloud had materia on him, and it made it very difficult. So,
funny how that worked.
Yeah. I only died once, which I guess is a point of pride for me, because it really expects you to have all your material equipped. But it wasn't enough that I couldn't like just buckle down and get through it for sure. But it would have been a hell of a lot easier if I had all that materia, for sure. Chat wants me to talk about the mini games. trying to think of like the mini games are generally fun. I don't know. Darts was fun. I gotta think of what other mini games there are.
I love the pull-ups,
gambling,
the squats. Oh yes. Oh yes.
I don't know if there's no, there's not really any gambling. There's an arena, which all Final Fantasies kind of have, but there's no like poker or anything like that. Yeah. The dance stuff was fine. I had an issue with how they did the UI in a lot of aspects of the game, and one of them was kind of the mini games, but it wasn't bad enough to like really completely go full throttle and bitch mode about it. But
full throttle bitch mode.
Yeah, I mean, I go there sometimes, without a doubt. If you've played the original, in Walltown, there is a squats mini game where you have to press. I think the original was pretty basic. I think you just pressed. It was some like face button command.
Do the like knees down.
Yeah. Timing thing. It's a rhythm and timing thing.
Yeah. And that's definitely back in this one. And there's even like a second thing that you can do as a side quest there. And it's generally fine. It's frustrating, but I feel like a lot of this game rides this thin line of like trying to service what the original did, but also trying to right the wrongs of the original. So it's not just full blown annoying. And they do a pretty good job of that. There's a driving sequence driving section in the game, which sucked as much as that did in the original. Like, if I'm honest, so much so that when you're going to chapter select, you can just flat out choose to skip it, and they make a very mandatory thing of saying like you can skip the driving section. Like that was.
I didn't know that. That's interesting.
Yeah, they let you skip it. It wasn't like completely terrible, but it definitely felt like we got to make the driving part. Oh fuck, you're right. Okay, well let's do the most basic job that we can with this, and that's what they did. But yeah,
I want you to beat my record of 63. Good luck. Let me know. Screenshots are accepted.
Was it 63 on the first? You're talking squats?
63 on the squats. Yep.
I'm trying to think what I got on the squats. I don't remember what I got. It definitely wasn't something I was proud of. It was something where I was like, thank fuck that's over. Chat saying I got 46. So what'd you get in the second part, I guess?
That one, I kind of like what you just said. I think I got 47 or 48.
It's
like
really hard.
It was a squeaky win.
Yeah,
dude, that is tough. Like when you start like, oh my god, it's like, okay, amateur. Yeah, this is kind of cool. Normal. Oh yeah, I'm cool with this. Pro. What is he on steroid? Like what is going on here? Oh my god, dude. That dude on the other side is just like my lord, man. I had to do a double take the first time it happened.
Yeah.
I got 48. 48 was what I got on the second.
Okay. You just can't mess up, basically.
Is it rhythm or does it devolve into mashing?
Well,
it's both.
Okay. Do you care about site spoilers? I could.
In terms of what the mechanics are for the minigame?
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah,
so the mechanics are basically like it's rhythm, but it's rhythm that speeds up, and most importantly, the ability to see the rhythm fades. So you have to kind of get the rhythm down, and then it fades off and speeds up a little bit. And the only visual indicator you have is between each step, your character has this like very slight pause. So you have to kind of get faster and faster based on your character pausing throughout the thing. And it's tough, man. It's tough because like there's this period between where it's slower and amping up that you not only have to keep the rhythm, but you also need to increase it just enough to not like trigger it. But you need to keep that pace going up or you'll stard like falling behind the other person.
And by the end, you're going like bum, 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 bum. Like you're going real fast around in the circle.
I think I'd be really good at this game. And I bet a lot of people that go to a lot of raves would be, because that's how they drop the beat, right? That's,
yeah. Oh, it speeds up every. The unfortunate side
is that BPM, man.
The unfortunate side is in the second section of the mini games, they fuck with your brain by changing the path that you're supposed to go, and so they train muscle memory to like do that rotation on the controller. And then the second one, it's
Yeah.
like, now you have to go triangle, square, circle X, triangle, square, circle X. Then we're going to pause halfway through and make it circle, triangle, X, square. It's like, fuck you. I don't want to do this shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's rude.
Yeah. So it was still fun. It generally fun. I don't think
Love
I've
them.
really like.
I absolutely love them.
Yeah. I don't think I only raged once, and it was one of those streams where I didn't eat the entire stream, so I was pretty hangry. But I did the arena battles, and there's solo versions of the arena battles, and I went into it without the like, I guess proper materia selection, the materia selection that you're supposed to go in there with, so that you have counters to the enemies. And I got to the final section, and the boss, like, the mob is just super duper fucking aggro and just doesn't give you a chance to breathe because you're supposed to be attacking him back. And it just slaughtered me to where I couldn't actually play my character. I was just like kind of stunned the entire time, or just like sitting there getting hit nonstop. And I was like, fuck this. And I quit. Like I just raged.
Sorry to interrupt, JP, but look at that fat guy on the screen.
Yeah.
He's so fat.
He's so fat.
What
Look
a
at him.
fat fatty.
Also, here's
oh my
Charlie
God,
Sheen.
He's disgustingly fat.
Let's talk about Charlie Sheen for a second, because that's literally fucking Charlie Sheen.
Boy,
and then there's the
Dude,
fat
it's
guy.
exactly like the guy. He looks. It's Hot Shots. It's Hot Shots.
Oh,
If you've
God.
ever seen that old movie with Charlie Sheen? It's Hot Shots.
Yeah.
And it's amazing.
It's 100%.
Yeah, it's so fantastic.
Yeah. So cool. That's Final Fantasy VII Remake from like a mechanics perspective. We'll probably talk about all that again and more with Max.
It's been years since I played the original, and so I wasn't sure. That's when I asked about gambling. I was mainly referring to the gold saucer, and I don't know like
It's
where
not
I can't remember where in that game
That's this
where in the
two
game
shit.
it comes, but
Yeah, that's later
Yeah.
in the game.
okay,
Much later.
maybe I'll start when they put out that one.
I just had a realization of like, wait a minute, if I was a member of chat, I would say something right here about the gold saucer and a character related to that. I'm not gonna. I'm just gonna talk about why I
Good
understand.
job, JP.
Yeah, I
Way
stopped
to
myself.
exercise restraint.
I showed some restraint. It's great.
Good job, JP.
It's also,
buddy.
yeah. Tune into the episode whenever we announce that type of stuff. That said, Final Fantasy VII Remake's pretty good. You should probably play it. And it's also, I know you played 1080p. For the first experience playing in 4K, god damn, some of those scenes are drop dead gorgeous on a HDR
Yeah.
4K mod. Like, holy shit, they're so goddamn good looking. I'm so excited to play more games now in 4K with HDR. And Persona 5 is in 4K with HDR, and it looks fantastic. So,
Hold up, we got an F.
what?
We good?
Oh,
Yeah, we good?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay, we're good. We're good. Okay, cool.
Yeah. We're
Um,
gonna
Get a
say
little
Zeke.
stream down.
I was gonna ask about saves coming. Is there saves? Like, is there?
Oh yeah,
Is that a
totally
thing?
doable. Yeah,
Really?
sure, if you want to. But you don't really need to. There's not
Okay.
like the game is very liberal with their auto saves, and yeah, I mean it works well. It works well.
Okay.
But there
Well,
are
when you said you
can
went to
save some
fight
if
with
you
no
really want to.
materia or the wrong materia or something like that, can you just reload and put the right shit on?
The unfortunate thing is you can, sometimes when you go into stuff, funny enough, in like the bottom left-hand corner of the screen, there's a little like transparent thing that says menu with square next to it. And if you hold that down, since it has changed characters and there's a fight at the end of the cutscene, you can go in and like, it'll basically load the menu before the fight starts. However, in the time that I did it, it's the end of the game and they kind of expect you to have your shit together. And so if I were to restart it,
Okay.
you would have to restart the whole process of the end of the game. I mean, they give you like, you know, a character goes, this is the point of no return. And you're like, oh, okay. I understand what you're saying.
I bet they'll really warn me when it is, though.
Yes, 100%. Like I just read, make sure that X and the party is equipped. And I was like, oh, so I think I hit the load thing and I was like, wait a minute, do I need to equip materia on everyone? And I look at Chad and they're just like, you fucking idiot.
It's like that old thing, like, was the oil light on? Well, yeah, but I thought they'd give me a warning. But it's like, that's it.
Yeah.
Then put oil in there. That's what it's there.
Exactly. So cool. That is Final Fantasy VII Remake. For the most part, that's part one. Stay tuned for part two.
Yeah, stay tuned for part two.
One of the things we'll talk about is how the fuck they named part two. I'm excited to have that discussion and more, because that's a whole thing.
Oh, yeah.
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 God damn it.
I hope they go the Kingdom Hearts route and just make it something stupid that doesn't make sense.
Final Fantasy 7-2.
Final Fantasy 7 chair cheese chippery. Something like that. Like some fucking stupid like that.
That would be funny, guys. Anyways.
No, I gotta say though, it's gonna be really interesting because whatever they do to the second name or the second part of the name, without it having be present on the first, it's gonna look so awkward. So for there to be Final Fantasy Remake, like even if they do Final Fantasy 7 Remake Part 2, it's gonna be like, why did you call the first one Part 1? Like what's going on here? Like no matter what they do, they're damned if they do, damned if they don't. It's gonna be pretty funny to see how they handle it for sure.
And you are
Yes,
your lips
it
are
will.
pursed like you want to fucking just like
you don't even know
explode, dude.
the half of it, Zeke. You don't even know the half of it.
I see the fuse and it's just going.
It's taken. I mean, this is a monumental task of restraint here.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't
All right,
know.
let's go to break. Let's
I
go to
don't
break.
know.
Yeah. Well, let's
It's
talk
funny
for 30
because-
more minutes and then we'll go to break. Because we
well,
only have got Barry and go to the restroom if you need to.
You guys,
Yeah.
give me 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I will say the amount of people that have told me, like I have a rant
Yeah.
about the name of the game, and the amount of people that have told me, like, nope, just wait till you finish the game. Finish the game first before you keep talking. Man, I don't know what to think of this.
Here-
I have no idea what to think at this point. Like, I seriously thought for a period of time that that the game was gonna like hit a wall, and then in like 7 hours, it was gonna be just the rest of Final Fantasy 7 Remake. Like every 5 minutes was gonna be another event until the very end of Final Fantasy 7 Original. Like they were gonna try to cram the entire rest of the game
Yeah.
in. And don't can you make a different expression, please? Oh shit.
I mean, I'm not saying anything. I'm just here.
Okay.
I'm just living. Here's what I would love for you to do, a message in the bottle type scenario, Cohh, where you're coming up on the final 7 hours of the game, final 6 hours of the game, whatever. Write out what you think is going to happen and like send it.
I've
to
already
me
been very public.
Okay, on your stream, you've said like this
Yes,
is what I think is
I've
going to
said that
happen.
I'm guessing, like what I've thought is that they're going to end the game arbitrarily at some point through the main story of Final Fantasy VII, and that it's going to be like we talked about on this show. I thought that it was going to be like
Right.
they get to the end of the part in the original where they leave Midgard, and then that's just where the titles start the credits start rolling in Remake.
Okay.
Like that's what I think is going to happen.
Okay.
And that would then, of course, open the door for the next game to just pick up right from there and continue the story and stuff like that. My biggest concern, and I really hope I'm wrong here, is that they're going to, like, it's a run out of fun situation where, like, instead of there being like a bunch of awesome developed stuff in a second game, that they're going to try to like super rush it at the end of Remake. So all this stuff that could have been fleshed out extensively is just going to be like cliff noted at the end of Remake.
back.
So we'll have to see what's going on. And again, I'm not even reading. I'm being careful now. That may be exactly what happens, and I'm going to be super disappointed if it does. But we will see. I may finish tomorrow. I may not finish tomorrow. We will see.
Cool. Yeah,
I'm
good.
probably gonna, as an early warning, I'm probably gonna run sub mode mostly tomorrow.
Oh yeah,
I've already been told by
yes.
many people, like I'm sorry to my non-sub brethren, but I'm probably gonna run sub mode mostly tomorrow.
I didn't read chat for the final 7 hours. I just closed chat. Strip and
Yeah,
put
I stopped reading chat for about the last couple hours today.
Strip and put in full emote only mode for his final section. So like it's yeah for sure. Well, anything else, Zeke? We can probably do Indie Sunday. Before we get to that, was there anything else you guys played apart from it's been 40 hours of me playing Remake since last Thursday, so I put by now probably another 30 hours into Valorant. I'm only
How are we
playing
feeling about it?
off stream at night. I'm having a great time. It's definitely the type of thing where it's fun with friends, and I have a lot of friends that are playing this and getting in there and playing off stream and just like goofing around till midnight every single night has been a lot of fun. I still feel strongly about the game. the character stuff is the more I play it, the more it becomes very clear that like they're not trying to make an Overwatch. They're trying to slightly appeal to the Overwatch crowd. But first and foremost, they're making a competitive shooter that they want to push esports on. And that is super apparent the more that you play that game. I've
That's
also
really good news.
Yeah, I've also started to see like what, and I think the community has now that the game's just had so much more time on it. And especially the devs did a show match on stream the other day versus kind of like Summit and Shroud and all those guys. And the devs just absolutely shit on them. It was oh my God, they got absolutely destroyed. And that was fun to see because it means that there's so much more to the game from like an ability point of view that there's a lot to learn. Yeah. Yeah, I think it was like 2 to 13 or like 2 rounds to 13 rounds or something like it was a stomp.
Wow.
And so many people have taken things from that show match that occurred, and you're seeing it so much more now in the meta. And so that's really good. One, to see that the developers are actually like talented at the game, and 2, to see that there is kind of that much like skill ceiling to grow on and to learn about the game. There's some stuff that came out this morning about the anti-cheat system that it uses where it's like always running on your PC. I haven't investigated it too much, but I think like when you boot your PC, the anti-cheat exe is running or something like that. I don't know much more than that, so I don't want to speak too much about it, but if you're at all curious about that, it's kind of the craze right now, so to speak, here on Wednesday. So you can go and figure that type of stuff out. And yeah, it's just generally fun. I'm having a great time with it. Now that I have drops, I might stream a little bit more of it. But it's definitely the game that I've been playing late night for sure. Cohh, is there anything else you've been playing on the channel? Or I know you're doing RimWorld still.
Yep. RimWorld evening. You're doing, I'm pretty pleased with your performance this colony, by the way. Both of you actually been doing really well.
Nice.
So good job. JP, you're my primary grower. Zeke, you're my primary constructor. You did just, Dan's Gaming actually just left his husband, a seagull, to have an affair with you, which was pretty interesting.
Nice.
So you two are now a thing.
Scandalous.
And Seagull is not super happy about this, but that's okay because we actually shoved a joy wire into Seagull's head. So now he's just a drooling happy mess, which has been really good. And Zeke has been kicking ass. He's like our all around primary constructor. You're going around making masterworks all the time because you've been doing this for a while. So pretty pleased with that as well.
Awesome.
Well, that follows
if we
suit
could just get
because,
Bikeman off the weed, then we'd be set.
If I'm in a group of 3 and they do the fuck, marry, kill, I'm usually the fuck. Like I'm not annoying enough to kill, and not and too annoying to marry.
Oh yeah,
Sure.
So I get that for sure.
Sure. Yeah, makes sense.
Did I talk about the complex last time?
Yes, that's the FMV game, right?
Yeah, I did. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Just making sure.
Yep. Yeah, we did not get into the most. I know you did Indie Sunday Jesus edition on Easter. We also didn't do one with Death and Taxes, One Step for Me, and the Unholy Society. Being that we only have about 20 minutes till break, do you want to do the old one, and then we'll do the Easter Sunday one, probably next episode or something like that? We're always a little bit behind with Indie Sunday, so. Let's start then with Death and Taxes from 2 Indie Sundays ago, 10 days ago. What is this game about, Zeke?
Death and Taxes. It's developed and published by Placeholder Gameworks. I don't see that they have anything else on Steam. But it's a 2D short narrative based game. You assume the role of the Grim Reaper on an office job. Your job is to decide which people are going to live or die. The consequences of your choices are yours to bear, while the mystery of your incarnation awaits revelation. So I played this game for, I want to say, like a little bit over an hour. Yeah, like it says 69 minutes. Nice. So I played it for a little bit over an hour. And it's a little bit like it's voice acted, so it's mostly, I think it's fully voiced, except for your part. Like you just pick your responses and stuff.
Oh, okay.
The voices are pretty good, but it's like it's sort of like Papers, Please ish with no time limit. They sit you down and they give you like 5 files on people, and you have to like you'll get a note at the beginning. It says this is from the head office. Says you must choose 2 people to die today. So you can have one person like you mark live or you mark die if you're given 4 of them. And then the dossier for each person has like this person went to college, they study this, they did this in their life, they have kids, or like this person is an identity thief, they've done this and blah blah blah. So you like it's like you make like choices that you think are either most moral or least moral. Like you can do kind of whatever you want, but as long as you follow the rules, you go at the end of the day, the head office like gives you praise. He's like, oh, you did very well today, or you didn't really follow the rules, did you? Because there was one point where it said you have to kill at least 2 people today, and I was like, at least I'll kill 4. So I let 4 die, and he was like, that's not really what I wanted from you. And I was like, oh, so you do it wasn't at least 2 people, it was 2 and 2 alone. Okay, you could have been more specific with that,
sure.
you know. But it's a decent game, but it wasn't like I don't know. Maybe I didn't play it enough, but it didn't like in the hour that I played it, it didn't get like super exciting. It's a solid game, nice artwork, good voice acting, sound design was pretty good, but not a lot happening. And there wasn't that tenseness that Papers, Please gives you because of the time limit, because you got to get through people like fast. And that's what like it lends itself to being a little bit more like sweat inducing, because you're going like, okay, I need to make money, I need to get rent because my husband's sick or my family's sick, I got to get food and stuff like that. And Papers, Please. Yeah. This one is just like you said that like I talked with Chad about it. Like, would you kill the ecologist or the radiologist? Like, who dies? You know, it's just like it was, like a fun discussion, like who benefits society more, or who deserves to die more, and stuff like that. But
so it kind of harps on like your own moral dilemma on that stuff. Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, a lot of times. And then they'll tell you like, there's a cell phone in the game that kind of tells you what the ramifications of your choices were. It'll have like a news feed, like a Twitter feed, like basically a Buzz feed, like New York Times feed kind of a thing. And it'll be like, scientist on the verge of discovering how to cure a virus suddenly fell dead today, like because you killed that person. So it'll show you like the ramifications of what you've done. I don't know how they like how it ends or anything, because I didn't play it for a super long time. But
yeah,
every time you make choices, your feed tells you like what happened because of your choices. Like, we were gonna like blow up this meteorite, but unfortunately, the driller who was going to head the project like fell off onto a rock and broke his brain or whatever. So, like that kind of shit.
I watch shows.
So,
brain rock.
Yeah, brain rocks will get you.
Yeah, you don't want to break your brain on a rock.
It's true.
But I mean, it was good for what it was. It's on sale right now for $9.74. However, I love that they do this. Thank you for doing this. There's a free demo you can download, so you can play a little bit of it for free if you want to get a taste of it. So
nice.
Death and Taxes on Steam.
I will also say Zeke played for about an hour, so check out his VOD if you want to see more of it. I know Dodger apparently did a full playthrough of it as well. So if you want to see a little bit more than an hour.
I heard she played it. I didn't know she got to the end.
Yeah. Chad was saying she got to the end, and she really liked it. So if you want a differing opinion, or you want to see more of it and not 100% sold with the demo or Zeke's VOD, you can check out Dodger's video, a friend of the show. So after that, there's a very Zeke problem that I have. My bottle of whiskey is blocking the bottom left-hand corner. So I don't know where. There we go. One step from Eden. Next game that Zeke played. And all
what a great problem to have.
One step from Eden. Now this game is one of those games that suffers from. They throw like all the information and just go and just dump it on you. Like they give you all this shit. Like Slay the Spire is a game that I like to point to as having wonderful progression, relating the rules to you of certain things piece by piece by piece as you progress. So like you'll have cards that say attack and defend, and then you'll have one card that says poison. So you're like, okay, you play a hand. I know what poison does now. And then you have a thing that says like this does fire damage or something like that. Like, okay, play in one hand. Like, okay, now I know what poison and fire does. This game is like, here's all the things. Like they drop magic cards on you, and it's just like, here, every single functionality of every card is right there. There you go. And you're just like, oh man. So I don't get to jump right in. I like the first like part of the game is just reading everything. Man, I don't like that very much at all. However, it does appeal to a lot of people who like having everything all at once. Like, I want to know how this game works from top to bottom immediately. Well, this is the game for you.
There you go.
So it's a live, or it's a action game. It's not a turn-based. Let me just get that out of the way real quick. It's not turn-based. It is live action based. So you like when you're moving around in the battle, you are actually moving your character around, and you're casting spells while you're moving. So you're dodging attacks. Like, see how the board is split between red and blue? Blue is your side, red is the enemy side. And they'll attack your side, and you'll attack their side with certain things like thunder. Like this lightning spell can only hit a square that's like 3 squares away, right in front of you. The ice spell like goes on a wave, so it goes like like doing progressively less damage as it goes on, or something like that. And each attack has different stuff. And there's like poison, there's ice, there's fire, there's shields, there's like I'm saying, like there's every fucking thing all at once. What I would suggest is finding something you like playing with. If you find something like, I liked poison, so there's a function in the game where you can choose kind of to like hedge your bet on what cards you will receive as rewards. So if I want poison cards, I can pick like, this is the card I want. So more often than not, when there's a card drop, I'll have one of those categories of cards that I can pick up and put in my deck. You can suffer from, it's just like Slay the Spire. You can suffer from having too many cards in your deck that aren't synergized. This game, I'm sure it has volumes of synergies that are completely discoverable. This card leads into this card, leads into that card, like that kind of thing. And it just like, goes on from there. I was just immediately turned off because of the complexity thrown at me all at once.
Sure.
I'm a very simple man, very simple minded. So, I like it when games progress in a one step at a time fashion. That being said, the game looks gorgeous. It handles great. It's once you get kind of an idea of how you want your playstyle to be, it got a little bit more fun for me. So I was like, okay, so I'm going to eliminate these cards, and I'm going to use this style of card. And I know, like, if I do this card first and this card, then I was like doing like the best. Like I was like 2 combo. I got a 1-2 combo. Pretty good. Not bad. It's like, oh, you can do like low punch into uppercut. Like that's as good as I got at fighting games, and that's probably as good as I'm ever gonna get in this fucking game.
Sure, yeah. It looks complex as hell just from the menus that I've seen here from watching it. So,
yeah. I've seen some people playing this game. I've seen some folks playing this game at the high end, and I mean, it just looks chaotic. Like with all the different things that are going on at the screen, and as many different things that they're having to. Yeah, that's one of the things that dissuaded me from playing it. That now that I hear about how they throw everything at you at once, that seems like a lot.
Yeah. I will also say, going from the consensus in chat, the people that do grasp into the idea of how complex it is and are into that type of stuff really like it. So, yeah, people are super into it.
There are people who absolutely love this game. It kind of reminds me of the fervor that some people had for Isaac when it was like first coming out and stuff.
Sure.
Like Isaac on the surface seems like a really simple game, but all the synergies, all the ways things work together, the percentages that this does this and that kind of stuff, it's deep. There's a deep underbelly to the game that I just personally like I threw my pickaxe down. I was like, I'm not gonna dig on this. But credit where credit's due. It's well put together. Got no problems with any of the like the UI, the sound design, the look of it. It's all put together very well. The game is called One Step from Eden. It's developed by Thomas Moon Kang, published by Humble Bundle and Maple Whispering something. They cut it off here.
How much is it?
It is $19.99 on Steam.
Okay.
And you can buy the soundtrack for $9.99 as well if you like. Yeah. It says, let me just give you the blurb here. It says, build a powerful deck, cast spells on the fly, battle evolving enemies, find game-changing artifacts, make friends or make enemies, just make it to Eden.
There you go. Final game for that day was the Unholy Society. How do you feel about that one, Zeke?
This game is great. I love this game. The story in it, the dialogue in it, the Unholy Society, a quirky 2D adventure game mixed with action elements, is inspired by 80s and 90s movies. Thank you. I love it. Comic books as well. Yeah, also. As well as everything else that fits into the categories of iconic and pop culture. Yes, please.
Yeah,
may I have more?
Those are all the buzzwords that you like.
Oh, dude, it ticked all those boxes. And I'm like, okay. Pander me, baby. Pander me up. And it definitely did that. It had lots of references and that kind of shit. I like the art style of it. I like the dialogue they had back and forth between people. There's like old friends and friendship stuff. The basic gist of the game is you are I want to say it's modeled after Jesse Custard, like Preacher, because you're this bearded preacher with you have the collar on, you smoke cigarettes, you got the white pants that he always wears. So I'm guessing it's an homage to Jesse Custer. But you go around and you fight like vampires and demons and monsters and that kind of shit, Cthulhu shit. The combat mechanic, if you can get to the combat mechanic is very unique. I don't know if I've ever played a game with this kind of combat. It's not complicated, but it's definitely different. You'll see, this right here.
Why?
You got to go back just a scotch.
Why is the cat singing Puff Daddy to me, Zeke?
Because it's a reference.
Okay.
Because they references it on purpose. A little bit further. Wait, no. Yep.
There we go.
You got it. There. This is the combat. So the combat mechanic is you get these, you see medium attack, light attack, and stuff like that. On the left-hand side, it's kind of behind my head. But you take this cross with this circle in it, and you go around the screen, and you find the symbols. And as soon as you connect the symbols, you do this medium attack, light attack, strong attack. The attacks get different. There's attack that hurts them and heals you, like a vampiric attack and stuff like that. So you get those things, you find it, you basically kill the enemies. But I like that they made this combat kind of playful and simple, because that's not really the star of the show. The star of the show is kind of like the dialogue, the choose your own adventure shit that you find along the way. The references, the funny moments that you get. There was one thing in this game that I wanted to talk about that fucking just pissed me off so bad. And I don't know what happened. There is a heavy attack that you get in the game. Eventually you find this, you upgrade to get a heavy attack. I couldn't do it because the symbols were not on the screen. You see that 666 that's in three in a row there?
Uh-huh.
There's supposed to be 3 of them on the screen to do the heavy attack. And after 3 different battles, it never showed up. And I don't know what the fuck happened. I'm wondering if you progress through the game. I see, that's what I'm wondering. Maybe chat was trying to help me out and shit. We looked up forums and stuff. Never really figured out how to do it. That kind of upset me because I spent 15 minutes going, why the fuck is this not working? I don't understand. But that was a minor thing. I'm easily forgiven, and I got over it. It was just a thing that I didn't understand, or they, forgot to mention oh, you can only do the heavy attack at this particular time or whatever. And chat was arguing me it says in the description it's hard to cast. Like, yeah, hard, not impossible, right?
Not impossible. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Those are two different words.
Yeah.
But anyway, I really enjoyed the game. It's definitely a game that I could see myself going back and finishing. I enjoyed. It's not voice acted, so I enjoyed voicing all the characters and stuff, giving them all different like accents and all that kind of shit. There's nods to like Twilight in it. There's nods to like I want to say probably like Lost Boys or like other 80s and 90s flicks, comic books and stuff like that. So if you're around my age, like between the ages of 30 and 40, you probably enjoy the game for those particular things,
Cool.
if nothing else. The game, and it's relatively cheap. It's normally $9.99. It's on sale right now for $6.69. Nice.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool.
You can get around now if you want.
All right.
I'll say.
That is the Unholy
Also-
Society.
Happy to announce Revival Materia Mastered.
Yes. You've been grinding that out. Nice. Is that 12 of 12 now for your magic materia?
It took 2.5 hours, but we got there.
Yeah. Is that 12 of 12 then? Or do you still have one more?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
12 and 12. That's it. That's everything. That's all she wrote.
Cool. I would say don't go visit something till you stream tomorrow so you can have that reaction on channel.
Oh yeah, I'm not even gonna talk to the dude until
Okay, yeah. We'll do a minute of news. Just kind of run through this stuff. Capcom's out there saying they're making Resident Evil 4 remake to kind of like
Ballsy.
yeah. That game's not that old.
It's not that old.
Three
And
yeah.
it's rather iconic in the RE franchise. So it's like this is one of those situations where it's do you need to make a good remake? But to not piss people off, it needs to be like a really, really good remake. And coming off the heels of RE3, which was kind of like it's a remake. We're gonna have to kind of see how this goes. Like if they screw this up, if they try to like RE3 remake the RE4 remake, where they kind of cut corners and make it kind of simple in ways, and the Nemesis guy isn't really that scary. Like this could be the death of the RE remakes potentially. If they screw this up, we may not ever see another RE remake.
And a lot of people were saying, why not Code Veronica instead?
I think a lot of, I know I include myself in this group. I don't remember much of Code Veronica, and I don't remember if it's actually a good game or if it's just nostalgia tells me it's a good game.
I was actually really hoping for a Code Veronica remake because I never had the chance to check it out when I was growing up. So it's like, damn.
Yeah.
I'm with you, Chad. Dino Crisis remake.
I would
and
love
I'll tell you why. Because Dino Crisis, I played it for the first time, and it's an old fucking game, but man, it was goddamn fun. Even with the graphical limitations and shit like that, I would love to see an updated Dino Crisis.
Yeah.
Another game I've never played.
Dino Crisis is pretty fun stuff. It's campy, but
it was
it's
fun even today.
Campy.
Like, yeah. And it's campy. It's real camp.
CD Projekt Red is saying Cyberpunk 2077 is, quote, in a complete form, and that further delays are unlikely. They also were out there saying that the DLC will be revealed before the release and with, quote, no less than Witcher 3 DLC. So that's good news.
As one of the most fleshed out and incredible DLC / expansion paths that a game has taken in recent history, with Blood and Wine, Heart of Stone being like great additions.
Yeah.
It is very cool to hear them say like, yeah, you're going to get that or more in this iconic game we've been working on for 6+ years. Like this is, that's a very cool thing to hear from them.
For sure. If you never played Assassin's Creed 2, it's currently free on Uplay starting yesterday. Assassin's Creed 2 is, I think, generally regarded as one of the best Assassin's Creed. So it's a big ass game to play if you've never played it before. The PC version, you got to download Uplay and grab that, but I figured I'd shout that out. Crysis is doing something. 2 days ago, they posted on their account after not posting on it from, I think 2016 was the last time they're tweeting from the twitter.com/Crysis account. So who knows what's going on with that?
Crysis 2, that was the game that just kind of like ended without really ending, right?
I didn't play Crysis 2. I only ran Crysis to see how it ran on mini PCs.
I don't think it was the first one. I remembered playing one of the Crysis games and it like got to the cool part and then it was like scene. And I was just like, what the Like, what? Like, are you kidding? I'm pretty sure that was Crisis 2. Maybe it was the first one, and I was so pissed I didn't play the second one.
Might have been Crisis
But yeah.
3.
Oh wait, there was a 3? Was there a Crisis
Yeah.
3?
Crisis 3 also exists, and they tried to like modernize what like Call of Duty was doing at the time, and I think it was bad. I think.
Is that 3? I don't even remember, man. I'll have to replay. If they're actually going to do something new for Crisis, like, no offense, but those were very, like, I already have a hard time remembering stuff. Those were not very memorable games. Like, the concepts were cool, and it was super fun when it came out with the suit and everything. Like, that was all super fun. But like the actual story and stuff, like, I don't remember. I could not tell you what that story was right now.
You didn't play Crisis for story.
Having fun playing it.
You played it to benchmark your PC like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yesterday, XCOM Chimera Squad was announced. I haven't watched this trailer or anything like this. Is this just more XCOM? What is this?
Dude, it's an XCOM mini standalone. It takes place years after the alien threat was defeated. There's like a bunch of pocket alien threats on the planet still. But what's super cool is the aliens have joined forces with the humans. So we're going to have like alien agents in our party now that have like all sorts of fun progress and abilities. And yeah, it's only like $20. So it's not like a full game. It's like a little standalone in the same universe. I'm actually super pumped for it. Like, it's like, it could be a lot of fun. It's, yeah, as chat's saying, well said, XCOM 2.5, essentially.
When does that come out? Do they have a release date tied to that?
I wanted to say it's not too far off. Maybe end of the month.
April 24th?
I'm waiting on chat.
I think it's $10 right now. It's actually 50% off on early deal right now. Mm-hmm.
Weird. So Gears Tactics comes out April 28th. Didn't they do something the last time like an XCOM style game came? Was that for the Mario Rabbids game where there was an XCOM style game that came out? I'm trying to remember. I'm waiting on chat to confirm with me. That's really weird they're like the Blizzard of XCOM games where if someone releases a game in their style, they put something new out. Because now they're going to be doing it 2 times in a row. So, I don't know.
That is a good point.
Yeah.
It's a really good point.
But, I mean, it doesn't speak to the quality of the game. It just speaks to how they kind of handle the business. So,
people are saying good things about Gears Tactics, by the way.
I have
War Tactics.
Yes, I've seen a lot of good things about that.
We're going to be checking it out.
Yeah, I think I'll probably try to fit in a playthrough for that. It'll be weird with Persona, but we'll see how that goes.
Oh shit! I forgot you were starting that. Oh
yeah. And I'm starting Royale in chat. I keep saying 120, and chat's like, dude, it's like 150 hours, and I'm just like, fuck. Fuck. It's going to be one of those games where I will definitely have to take breaks from it, or else I will just... I'm like Zeke, where if there's so much filler, they just beat me over the fucking head with story recaps for like 20 plus hours. I will definitely have to take breaks from that game on stream.
Well, you played through Persona 5 already, right?
No, I stopped when the embargo was in place, where they're like, don't stream past this with Mercer's character.
Yeah, that thing. Okay.
Yeah.
I remember.
So I think that was like 20 hours in. It was pretty early on in the game. It was right before you went into Mercer's dungeon. So, yeah.
Mercer's dungeon.
Yeah. Everyone loves going to Mercer's dungeon, you know. They're super into it. That's pretty much all the big news that I can see in the past week. There's another thing. Sony's announced a new thing, which is essentially a branded free games thing where they're giving the Uncharted collection and Journey away for free. Where is that? I don't know when that might already be happening right now. The Play at Home initiative. And it earmarks $10 or $10 million to support their independent development partners. So, yeah, if you haven't played the Nathan Drake collection, any of the Uncharted series or Journey, and you have a PS4, grab it. It's worth it. It's good stuff. And then we also, chat's reminding me, we didn't talk about Last of Us being delayed indefinitely, but I don't know if there's much else to say there. From a streamer's point of view, I'm kind of glad there's a little bit of a break. I don't know if I'll be saying that at the end of May when that game was supposed to come out, but there was a lot of games that came out like back to back to back to back to back. And it was a lot from a streamer's point of view. But, you know, if you kind of look at where the world's at right now, we talked about that's kind of an odd game to release in the current climate and the current world events. So I can see why, from like a marketing point of view, that would be a very tough game to market. And I would suspect that if they're pushing it back now, that might be a PS5 launch title in the holiday season. And for me, if I get to play a better version of The Last of Us as my first version, I don't necessarily mind it. It's not the worst thing if we're playing on PS5 hardware and it looks better and it runs better. But I can totally see how people would be upset that they were, you know, wanting to play that game when they're at home, bored, looking for stuff to play. So I get both sides of it, but there's just not much. I think the reason we didn't necessarily talk about it, because we don't really have too much to say on the matter. But Zeke, Cohh, feel free to jump in if you do. And if not, we'll take a break and get Barry in here.
I'm good.
Not really. Yeah.
Okay. All right. There we go. Let's take that break then and come back with one Barry Carlyon. How do you say it?
Carlyon.
Carlyon.
It's pronounced Corleone.
Is he Italian?
No, God. No.
I think Barry's Italian, I think, is what we've learned here today. We'll ask him about where he's from and his ancestors.
Barry Carlyon is I think how he pronounces it. Yeah.
I think that's accurate. All right, we're gonna take a break.
That's what he requests it to be pronounced as well.
It's true. I can't do that accent, so we'll have Cohh introduce him when we come back with more drop frames right after this. We'll see you guys in about 5 or 6 minutes.